Okay, I'm going to show you a split stance hip hinge, and you can do this against the wall for a little bit of an easier balance situation. You can vary this however you feel is most helpful for you, like finding your easiest, best feeling hip hinge. So I'm going to assume a split stance with my right leg against the wall, my left leg, most of my weight on my left leg for this first variation. You're going to make sure that your shoulders are stacked right over your rib cage is right over your pelvis, hips, knees, feet. So you also want to make sure that your spine and your pelvis is in neutral. So as you're coming down or up, you want to make sure that you're not moving too much in this plane of motion. You want to keep this all in neutral, and we're basically only hinging from the hips here. So you can kind of visualize a 2x4 this way and a 2x4 this way, and the only place that's moving is the hinge in the middle. So again, I'm going to do this on my left leg, focus on my left leg. I'm going to turn my deep core activators on and put my fingers right under my ASIS, my hip bones that stick out in the front, and I'm going to make sure they stay level throughout. So I'm putting just a little bit of pressure of that back right leg into the wall. Most of my weight is on my left foot. I'm going to kind of bias my weight towards the ball of my foot here. And I'm going to think about keeping my spine in neutral, keeping my pelvis in neutral as I back my butt up towards the wall, almost like I'm backing it up into a parking spot. I'm going to think about my sits bones widening. My butt bones are widening as I'm coming down, and I'm lengthening my glutes. Now I'm going to use that length in my glutes to then contract right there where I feel that length to come back up, to rise back up. So most of my weight's on that left side. I'm keeping my knees stacked right on top of my ankle, and I'm coming up and down in that way. Now that's the first variation. Another thing that you can play around is weight distribution between your feet. So you can play around with keeping 50% on the left, keeping 50% on the right, pushing back into the wall, and trying a hip hinge that way. See how that feels. You can also think about putting a lot more focus on that back right leg. So I'm pushing my heel into the wall and also activating my hamstring almost as if the action is pulling that heel up the wall, okay? And the same rules apply. Hips stay even, spine and pelvis are in neutral, and I'm just backing that whole backside of me back towards the wall like it's a parking spot. My sits bones are widening, and then I'm using that length to rise back up. So those are just some variations of a split stance hip hinge that you can try. Just see what feels good for you. See how you can best feel this in your glutes. And then obviously change sides and see what you think on the other side. So that is again a couple of different variations of how to do a split stance hip hinge against the wall. I hope that helps.